Thanks, honey. Wise ass. Only in New York. We were 25 years in, and a couple years ago, our manager, Jack Rovner, started talking about doing an autobiography. And I says, my book is only half written, Jack, I'm not interested. And he says, how about a memoir? And I said, I'll get my dictionary and get back to you. And I thought about it, and I thought, a moment in time, it might be interesting at this point to capture something, especially from the band's perspective. And so we sought out a deal, and we got a book deal, and we had a great big co-writer on the project, and they gave us stacks of books by other bands. And all of them were these cliche, oh, I drank this, I smoked that, I was with her, I stole money from him, and you know, they're all rotten cliches. And we weren't going to sit around and tell those kinds of stories to a guy like this. So when he came back, he actually was forced to make up what he thought was dialogue between band members. And you know, we're reading this first draft, I'm cringing and I'm thinking, this got to go right in the fireplace, you know. So it's we threw it back in, and we gave the company their money back, and everyone was disappointed, and I walked away. And I was flying with the band over to England. We watched the entire 4 hours of the Peter Bogdanovich film on Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and it was fabulous. It was really, you know, exciting to see all this home footage of the guys doing their thing, and they were one of my favorite bands growing up. But when I thought about us doing something like that, again, I didn't want it to be retrospective, because if you want retrospect, go on YouTube. You can find anything, including tonight, on YouTube. Right now. And if you want, you know, if you want a concert movie, you know, chances are you're going to see us in your town every year. That we come around a lot. We thought, if we're going to do this, let's tell that story in film. And Phil had done the Whole Lotta Leavin' video, and he did To Ain't Strangers Anymore. And we developed a rapport. And he's also a great photographer. And took some pictures, and now he's got us in both mediums of film, but then a great conversationalist. So he started capturing the stuff on film, and Jack and I sort of yapped, and we said, I think we've got something here with Phil. So we teamed up, and the film was made. Now I'll tell you another thing about the film, is when it was done, and it was done 7, 8 months ago, I was afraid to show it to anybody, only because I didn't think anybody would find great interest in it, except us. You know, and a friend of ours runs the Tribeca Film Festival, Jane Rosenthal, and I said, now Janie, I don't want any favors here, I just want you to look at it and tell me if we wasted a lot of money, and that the record company won't give us the money for it, and you know, nobody wants to be partners with us. And she said, let me look at it. She did. She said, I really want this in the Tribeca Film Festival, and that's a prestigious festival for any of you that know. You know, it's a big deal. So we put it in there one time, and it wasn't in competition, and it was received very well. And the guys from Showtime, Matt Blank, came back, and they said, stop, don't go any further, please, we want this to be there. And I remembered that. So as it picked up steam, and as other people were interested in it, and theatrical releases and all that, I said, no, we went with Phil, because he was the right guy. We went with Showtime because they were the right guys, and we told the truth. And so there's the background on it, and it's been received rather well. Thank you.
What I want to ask you, which I haven't actually asked you before, is what's interesting for me now that I've watched the film with some space and time away from it. You're a leader of an organisation which goes beyond what a singer would normally do, and it's in the film and we've discussed it. You hold the destiny of yourself and many other people in your hands. When you let me in, and you really did let me in this film, there was no question that John or Richie or anyone was not prepared to answer. I had to take Richie out on a boat in the middle of the ocean to get him to speak at one point. But he had to either swim or answer my questions, and he likes his hair, so he answered the questions. But what possessed you at that point to, having only you've done two things with me, a couple of videos and a photograph. Was there a risk in your mind of because I'm tenacious and I wasn't going to let go of questions, you never said no. Were you worried at any point?
We got this family thing. And in this family, it's very hard to get in, and it's harder to get out. And I also knew that I owned the film that you were shooting. Don't think that I wasn't aware that I owned the film that you were shooting.
But I tell you one thing, I did have a little secret weapon. YouTube. No, actually my secret weapon was never to show John the film unless Dorothea was in the room. And that's the truth. That was my secret weapon. I've never told him that. They helped me get through a lot of crises.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later.
I see that.
Okay, well, we're going to go on to talk about the music and all the rest of it as we go through the evening. You're going to hear some songs. We'll interrupt a couple of times, talk about where stuff comes from, why it was written and how it was written. But one thing that we all know, and that is indisputable, is that the way that John and Richie write and the music that they deliver to us as an audience talks to us personally and talks to the masses. My question on that is, it answers itself. It seems to be an instinct with you that you speak to people in their lives, but where does that come from? Is it something you plan or just something you do?
No, it's living life. I mean, these are the situations in our lives. And so the beauty of having a collaborator is that it's not just my story or just Richie's story. It becomes our story, and in turn it becomes everybody's story. Because you don't stay so specific to, you know, I like blue, and when he says I like red, it becomes purple. But what the magic of that is it becomes a universal message. From living on a prayer to born to follow, there's been these themes of responsible optimism. And what I mean by responsible optimism is we don't paint the picture as being too perfect, because then that would be a lie. And yet we always try to find the glass half full. But that's the beauty of having the collaboration. And I've always been aware, and for any writer who might be out there, every day is another memory. All you got to do is open your eyes wide and your ears and listen, because every day there's subject matter to write about. It's that simple.
But then, again, that's the remarkable thing about what you build around you, because not only do you have time to open your eyes and look around and write the poetry that becomes the songs, but you also manage to keep a grip on the reality of a machine that is as big as your band and your life. How do you reconcile those two?
You know, it's not to think that I sit behind a desk at a board meeting, because if I was at a board meeting, I'd be bored. I have no reason to pretend that that's the case. But if I were a shoemaker and I didn't know how to run the shoemaking business, I'd be out of business. So after 25 years, it's just that I've learned how to do what I do. And you know, that's a simple stuff. That's all that matters. But it's the art first. You have to write a song that you are excited about. When you write it, you know, I mean the you as in we, and it goes from the notebook into the recording studio and it comes to life, then you want to share it with as many people as possible. And you're excited to share it. It's like, you know, coming home from school and showing Mom the drawing you just made. Oh, look at me. You know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you're still proud to show that drawing every day.
I accept that. Sharing is me taking my first picture of you into your dressing room and saying, hey John, look what I did. You share with 65,000 people on a regular basis.
I like things bigger.